Waiver Wire Wednesday was in full swing for the Canucks as a fan favorite clears waivers while a newer acquisition has been claimed by a bitter rival, but somehow leaving the Vancouver Canucks better off. We're going to be breaking down all of that in this episode of Canucks Digest, but first make sure to hit that subscribe button and click the bell icon so you don't miss any updates around the Canucks as we finally head into the regular season. And with that, let's hop into the first topic of the day, which is Phil DiGiuseppe clears waivers. Now, it was announced today that Phil DiGiuseppe has cleared the waivers and will be assigned to Abbotsford in the AHL, and Sportsnet did point it out opening on Canucks Central that DiGiuseppe had been sent down instead of the likes of Aatu Räty and RCD Baines specifically because he had a lower cap hit than they did. And we even had Tocchet himself coming out on Filip DiGiuseppe saying this: yeah, it's a hard one. He's a solid guy. Came in and had a really good camp. There are numbers involved. There's a lot more to it. The cap, this and that, LTIR. It's over my head. I hope he doesn't get picked up because, to be honest with you, he's a guy that I still think if he doesn't get picked up, he's in the mix as far as making this roster. And that was him saying the reasoning as to why they had to just put him on waivers. And thankfully, he didn't get picked up. So Tocchet does get his guy back in this Vancouver system. They're not going to have to worry about another team swiping him up like another player that we're going to be covering later on in this video. But when you look at PDG stats for Vancouver since he got there a few seasons ago, he hasn't done too much crazy things, but he is a good locker room presence. The team loves him, fans love him, as well as Tocchet himself. So it's nice to see him be coming back. He is a good locker room presence, like I said, so he might be a good morale boost, whether it's in Abbotsford or in Vancouver. He's going to be a valuable asset from a team chemistry standpoint. And like Tocchet talked about, as far as the LTIR, if you're unfamiliar with the LTIR, NHL teams can exceed the salary cap ceiling through the placement of a player on long-term injured reserve. When a team uses this option, they create what is called an LTIR relief pool, which essentially allows them to buy up a cap to the amount that the LTIR player's cap hit. How much up to that maximum amount relief is achieved depends on how much a team can. In short, when a team goes into LTIR, meaning they exceed the cap via the relief space, particularly on opening day, they want to set their roster as close to that maximum as possible. In other words, if the team is going to LTIR, someone with a $2.5 million cap hit as of opening day, like Tucker Poolman, and they want to make the most of that potential relief space, they want to submit a roster that is close to $2.5 million over the cap ceiling as possible without going over. And we saw teams like Vegas take advantage of this last season where they were able to put veterans on the LTIR and save them for the playoffs and go out and get some guys so that other teams could not scoop them up and just stack their team. And when you look at Vancouver's roster as well, you have 27 players made up of 15 forwards with all the players there if you want to take a look. Some of them just recently popping up on the injury report like Joshua a few weeks ago. Pia Suter as well was popping up on there, and some other players, of course, Thatcher Demko as well. When you look at those guys, it is nice to see Phil DiGiuseppe will be coming back to this type of roster. And there was a good amount of young guys that were kept around, like Niels Alman, Aatu Räty, and RCD Baines as well. And as well as Mark Freeman and Tucker Poolman, who they didn't want to put on LTIR heading in to start the year. However, when looking at the total cap hit, the roster did total up to $90 million, approximately 2.3 over the cap hit. The team could place Joshua, Demko, and or both Bluger and Suter on IR, follow up by placing Poolman on LTIR, locking that into 2.3 as relief space. But this is the thing that the Canucks did not want to do heading into this season. Jim Rutherford made a point of saying that they did not want to go into this season on LTIR. They wanted to go into it just with the full roster, just right on the cap hit. But again, with these injuries popping up, they want to avoid putting Suter, Bluger, and Joshua on LTIR. Then you have the problem of Demko. Then you have Poolman. You have all of these things that they have to take into consideration where it seems like the LTIR might be something that Vancouver just simply cannot avoid this season. They're going to have to do a lot of things to make that happen. However, we're going to be able to do it without losing a guy like Phil DiGiuseppe in the locker room. But let us know what you guys think down below. What do you guys think about Phil DiGiuseppe coming back to this Vancouver system? Do you think he's going to stay in Abbotsford the whole year, or do you think he's going to get called up for a few games with Vancouver and maybe get into that playoff games like he did in this past season? You know, he had that dad strength when he scored that goal. But let us know what you guys think down in the comments. That's going to take us to our second topic, which is Jiri Patera has been claimed, and it was announced today that after the Canucks put Patera on waivers along with Nate Smith, Phil DiGiuseppe, and Christian Wolanin, those three players did clear the waivers, will go to Abbotsford. But unfortunately, Jiri Patera was one of the casualties who was snatched up, and he was snatched up by the Boston Bruins, which is very unfortunate. I know they have a messy goalie situation going on with Swayman right now and all the things that were ethically questionable with all that. But again, they are needing a goalie, and they lost, but Vancouver did lose Patera. And looking at how they signed Patera as well, He signed him to a 2-year, two-way contract where he could play in AHL or the NHL with a 775,000 cap hit per season. In the offseason, they signed him, but with Thatcher Demko's status up in the air, the Canucks didn't want to wait long before signing proven NHL backup Kevin Lankinen to a 1-year deal during training camp. And that kind of makes it, when you look at this goalie depth chart, there was no place for Patera to be. Yes, he had the lowest cap hit of all those goalies, but Ty Young and Tolopilo are going to be in the AHL. Then they're going to have this 3-goalie tandem for the regular season. Thatcher Demko will not be starting the season healthy and will be coming in later, so it will be Shilovs and Lankinen. However, with Patera gone, I feel comfortable with running a Shilovs-Lankinen tandem. I think this is going to be a nice matchup for the Canucks to have heading into this season, where they're going to have a nice little duo. They're going to be competitive and want to compete for that backup spot once Thatcher Demko is fully healthy. And you have both guys that are committed to making that happen. Shilov said he wants to play in the NHL this year full-time, and as well as Lankinen just saying he's ready to go and he's ready for the opportunity. So it's going to be an interesting goalie battle. However, we're going to have to do it without Jiri Patera. We knew heading into this season that there was a chance that Patera could be potentially the starting goalie on day one, or at least with a 1B with Artur Shilovs as his backup. But as the developments came out about Demko and they needed someone more reliable as that backup, they went out and got Kevin Lankinen to bolster it down. Now there's no need for Patera around, just free up the cap space, and then he goes to a team like Boston. Unfortunately, it is a team that is Boston. It's a bitter rival of ours. However, with all they have going on, that seems to be the least of their problems. So props to them for doing that. However, that's the only props I'm ever going to give the Boston Bruins, but they just took a bit of some cash off of our hands, so we have to thank them for that. But what do you guys think about Patera being claimed off waivers? Love to hear what you guys have to say down in the comments, but that's going to take us to everyone's favorite topic, which is comment of the day. And we see here in a comment from TL Evans 62. He's been watching from the Philippines. He grew up in Vancouver before moving to Australia, then Dubai, now the Philippines. Been following the Canucks since they first started in the NHL. 62, stage 4 cancer, so hopefully they win a cup before I shuffle off this mortal coil, and hopefully they are able to make that for you happen as well. Hopefully you do have a speedy recovery, wishing nothing but the best for you and your family, but hopefully the Canucks can bring you a cup. I know you've been waiting a long time, a lot longer than I and Mark and many other fans have been waiting, so this is going to be a long time coming for Vancouver Canucks fans of all ages and all walks of life. It's going to be amazing to see when they finally bring it home, and it was amazing to see where you guys have been watching from. We saw support coming from Hong Kong, Mexico, Europe, South America, India, Asia, everywhere across the globe, and it is amazing to see not only that the Vancouver Canucks have a reach like this, or that the game of hockey is just so beloved on a global scale, even in countries where the hockey isn't the biggest sport and other sports are bigger. It's amazing that you guys are loving the content and loving what the Vancouver Canucks are doing. I know they all appreciate the support from around the globe. I know we appreciate you guys supporting from around the globe. We can't wait to bring you guys more and more amazing content this season. We know we're going to be going to Detroit in December. Mark's going to be coming to Windsor. We're going to have a whole slate of stuff planned for you guys, so that's going to be something to look out for this season, as just something to circle your calendars on, because the Detroit Red Wings game is going to be a big one for this channel. But that's going to do it for this episode of Canucks Digest. Hope you guys enjoyed. Leave a like, comment, subscribe, share with your friends. It is free to subscribe, so if you want to go ahead, click that subscribe button, hit the bell icon so you don't miss any and all updates. But that's going to do it for this episode. I've been your host, Griffin. Take care.